Hi everyone, Jason here at the Whittier Public Library Children's Department with our latest steam-powered science take-home science kit. Today we are going to make a CD hovercraft. We're going to use the power of air pressure and a regular compact disc to make a hovercraft that will float a little bit above the surface of your table. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so let's build our hovercraft. And this is the point where I have to tell you that this is pretty much a 2-day experiment because you're gonna have to build the hovercraft, you're gonna have to let the glue dry overnight, and then you can usually do the experiment the next day. But it does need about 24 hours to really fully dry, and you wanna make sure to do that, otherwise it's just gonna come apart when you try to do the experiment. So this is part one. We're going to take our CD, and notice I put down some paper towels. You might want to put some paper underneath where you're working so you don't get glue all over the surface you're working on. I also wanted to mention, if you have a hot glue gun or if you have some super glue, it's going to work a lot better. We gave you this white glue, which doesn't make a very strong bond, but super glue or hot glue will work a lot better. Just if you do use either one of those, make sure to get a parent or an adult to help you with that. It will hold this thing on much better. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to take our white glue and we're going to open that up. And basically we're going to glue our little pop-up cap right onto the middle of the CD. And that's really about it. Make sure to use a lot of glue because this particular type of glue is not very strong on plastic. So make sure to use quite a bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to try and get it as centered as we possibly can on the CD, over the whole of the CD, and make sure you don't block the whole of the CD. So we're going to keep squeezing that glue on. I'll speed it up now so you can see the whole process here. Okay, that's pretty much it. And now through the magic of time lapse, we're going to jump ahead 24 hours and we're going to try out our CD hovercraft. Okay, now let's try our CD hovercraft out and see how well we can get it to glide. For reference, let's just use a regular CD and glide it across the table to see how it slides. Pretty good, but it slows down a little bit. No air blowing under this one. Now we're going to try our CD hovercraft. And one very important thing with this, when you open and close this cap, make sure you only hold the cap. Do not push against the CD when you do it, or guess what? It'll pop right off. You'll have to re-glue it and wait another 24 hours. So don't do that. Only hold the sides of the cap to pull it up, to push it down. Put your finger on the other side of the CD and push straight down. Open, hold the cap, pop open. Push to close like that. Do not ever push against the CD or it's going to break right loose. Okay, so what we're going to do, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to blow up our balloon. And if you're younger, you might want a little help with this from an adult or an older person because it does take a little lung power to blow up this balloon. You want to blow it up pretty big. Okay, I think that's good enough. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to give this balloon a couple twists, and then I'm going to use the paper clip to hold it in place so it's not leaking air. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the balloon over the top part, the moving part of the pop-up cap. So I'm going to put that right over there, like that. See, okay, we got that on there. You can see that's on there now, but the cap is still closed, so air cannot flow through yet. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the paper clip off, and then I'm going to let this untwist. Now it's ready to go. But what I need to do now is I need to pop this cap up. And remember, push against the white cap only. Don't push against the CD when popping the cap up. Okay. Now air is flowing through. And now you can see it's gliding very easily because the air pressure is lifting it off. Ooh. See how much easier that glides than the CD that doesn't have air blowing through it? There you go. You just get a few seconds. And now you can take it off and blow it up again. So hopefully your hovercraft glided over the surface okay. If you want to continue this experiment, we gave you some of these stickers that you can put over the hole on the bottom of your CD. And try poking holes of different sizes in those stickers and see how it affects the way the hovercraft works. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what a hovercraft is. A hovercraft is a special kind of vehicle that uses big fans and air pressure to lift itself off the surface. And because of that, it can travel over a lot of different kinds of surfaces. It can travel over water, over land, it can travel over ice or mud. It just can't travel over really rough or rocky terrain. Okay, let's talk a little bit about why our hovercraft worked. Basically, it's through the magic of air pressure. So when you blow up this balloon, you're using the power of your lungs to create higher air pressure and push it into the balloon. The balloon now wants to shrink back to its normal size, and that pushes on the air inside and creates extra air pressure. Now when you attach it to the CD Hovercraft, the air pressure wants to get out, but when you have the cap closed, it's blocking it. When you pop the cap open, all that air is going to rush through the hole in the cap, down through the bottom of the CD. Still wants to escape, so what's it going to do? It's going to blow out in all directions trying to escape. Because basically higher pressure, the pressure from the balloon going under the CD, wants to move toward lower pressure, which is the pressure of the air all the way around. So that air is going to try to move in all directions. Now it's going to push out to the sides of the CD, but when it does that, it's also going to push up and down. Pushes down on the table, up on the CD. So that air is strong enough to push those two apart. So while that air is coming out, the CD will be pushed away from the table a little bit. It will float a little bit. So thanks for joining us today. That's about it for our experiment. If you'd like to learn more about any of these topics, please stop by the Whittier Public Library and ask our librarians to help you find some books about air and air pressure, about hovercrafts and other vehicles. And here's some examples of some books you might look for. Thanks for joining us today, and we hope we'll see you at the library soon. Goodbye.